Yay!
All right. Hey guys, welcome back to Letting It All Hang Out, episode number 40, which is quite some time that we've been doing this, and we've only missed one, and we're pretty excited about that. Let's
What,
start
the one we
by...
missed?
I'm sorry, Steve?
I wasn't particularly excited about the one we missed.
No, I'm excited that we got 39 other ones.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. The one that we missed is completely just a foobar, a quick fabber. So let's start introducing the panel. We got Scott Taylor McCormick, as always. Congratulations, Scott, on 40 episodes. How are you today?
Yeah, doing good, really. Yeah, 40 is awesome.
Yeah.
39 in a row or 40 episodes, yeah, it's pretty good. So looking forward to this one. I sent a bit of a rant out to my list earlier on this topic, linking the two quite nicely. So yeah, let's hope for some good stuff.
That's how it's supposed to be done, right?
Oh yeah.
Steen Greenhouse, how are you today?
I'm very well, Yearly. Very proud to be here. I think this has been an incredible achievement and something that you really need to step, young man, because you've done incredibly well to keep this really band together. And I, for one, take my hat off to you. I think it's remarkable. Congratulations.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, obviously it's a group effort, team effort, and we've all worked hard to keep this going. And if one can't do it, someone else jumps in and does it. So I think that's a great way to keep things going. We got Jill Humphreys. How are you doing today, Jill?
Good evening, everybody. And all I got to say is keep calm and drink up, and happy 40th.
Happy August. It's September.
This is a real milestone, and you guys got to take my hat off to you and just celebrate with you. And thank you so much for the invitations, the coming out party, and having some fun. Thank you.
I'm excited about it. You look great, Jill. Is that you got a new haircut there or something?
I have actually, yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice. Leslie Lawler, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me again to celebrate your 40th Hangout. Yeah, and well, 40 weeks is a very long time. And again, it's about the topic that we're talking about today, being persistent and consistent. And you've actually, the proof's in the pudding, as they say. Yeah, because it's really difficult to keep something going for a long time. So I think it helps everybody, the new people that are listening into, helps them to understand that, we all started somewhere in a small way a while ago. And yourselves, I mean, congratulations to you and Scott. You've done a great job.
Thank you. Congratulations to yourself, too, for being on here so often and having so much to add and keeping it going with us. I forgot, you just said something and it made a lot of sense, and I forgot what it was, but I'm sure it'll come back to me.
Tell me.
I forgot. You made something that made a lot of sense, and I just skipped it. I'll remember it. Jay,
I would have written it down.
You back, Jay?
Hello, Yuli.
How's it going?
Jill referred this to as the coming out party. Then, unfortunately, I've got nothing to announce.
Nothing about you and Chris.
You're gonna keep that a secret still, huh?
Yeah, still keeping that a secret. I am pleased you've reached a milestone, Yuli. It appears like you've started a bit of a movement, because I joined on episode 17, I think it was 17 or 18, just before Stuart jumped on. And now I'm seeing webinars popping up all over the place, and it does take a lot of work and a lot of commitment to put these together. So definitely congratulate you and Scott on that.
Yeah, thanks. It's been awesome. Yeah, we Scott and I started just a couple months ago, or 10 months ago, 13 months ago, started just talking about it, and then before you know it, here we are. So very excited. But it leads us right into our topic of today, which is consistency and persistence. And we're going to talk about how that's important to not only running your business, but having some consistency and persistence in everything you do, will get you where you want to go. It'll take you to the next step and to the next level. And regardless of if these are making us famous or not, which I highly doubt that they are, I think what we're doing is putting out enough value out there to where people that are coming onto it, are coming into the business and existing in the business, are all getting a little bit out of it. And like Jay said, even if it helps more people do more of what we're doing, it's totally worth it. So I'm excited to be part of it, and I'm sure everybody else is. And here's what I wanted to say to you. I knew it'd come back to me, Leslie. And you said even people that are new, it's that even the biggest, best professionals or everything were always new at one point. So when we first started these, they were not the best, and they keep getting better and better and better and better. And the best keep getting better, and I'm pretty excited. So it's cool.
It's very true that, Yuli. It made me think after doing the Master Marketing webinar with a couple of guys the other night, what the hell was I doing on that webinar? And how little I knew when I first joined your webinars. But everybody has to start somewhere, and it's unbelievable what you learn and what you can actually give back.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to start somewhere. I mean, it's the people that wait for it to be perfect that really never get anything done. And I've come to the conclusion. After you can watch most of my videos and most of my stuff is none of it's perfect or even close. But if I sit there and I try to perfect everything, I'll never do anything. I'll just sit there and wait and wait and wait till it's perfect. And since you're your worst critique or your worst critic, you're never going to launch anything. You're never going to release anything because you're just sitting there waiting for it to be perfect. You know, it doesn't have to be.
What's the old Chinese proverb? Man sits on mountain with mouth open, waits very long time before roast duck flies in. Get off your ass and go and kill one.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Although I got close the other day with a big bird flying into my mouth on a ride, so I'll ride with my mouth closed from now on.
That's another story, though.
Yeah. So Scott, we should let you kick it off today. Persistence and consistency. What are you laughing at, Joe?
Sorry, it was just Leslie. She just took me to somewhere else then. Sorry, carry on.
Birds. You said big birds.
I know.
Thanks, Leslie.
What
So, Scott, what's your take on persistency? You know, you're a big part of this, obviously, one of the bigger parts of this whole webinar Hangout thing that we're doing. What's your take on consistency, persistency? Why is it so important in your book? And kick this thing off.
Well, sure. I'll sort of share the argument I had that I sent through to my list. It was a bit of a rant. It was a bit of a long email that I sent through, but I think the point was quite valid. And basically, I said, if you have this goal, and you see it all the time, especially around New Year's, where people go, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, either lose weight, put on weight, whatever, you know, muscle, and they sign up to the gym, and they go once, and they never go again, and yet they wonder and are questioning why they're not losing the weight or, you know, building up some muscle. And it just seems like madness. And when you actually look at it like that, it is madness. You're not going to go once and achieve the goal that you want. So really it applies to anything. And these webinars, for example, we weren't going to build the momentum and stuff that we've achieved by just doing one. I remember looking back at that first webinar, Yuli, and let's face it, it's not great. there was some bandwidth issues. It's all a bit higgledy-piggledy, but that was the first one. And you know, as Jay was sort of saying before, you've got to start somewhere. And look at it 10 months on, you know, that's pretty awesome. And you know, it has taken a lot of work. You know, Yuli, you sort of, I think, the ringleader for this, and really keep it together. I think, as Steve said before, and that takes a lot of hard work and effort, and it applies to everything in life, doesn't it? Whatever goal you have, it takes a lot of hard work to keep going and keep pushing through all the challenges. And you know, unfortunately, last week we neither of us could host it for various issues, for various reasons, which was the very first time that, you know, broke that sort of continuous streak. But we were, you know, already committed to doing the 40th one anyway. So I guess sometimes things do come up that are unavoidable. But yeah, it's essential, and it can be applied to anything. Being consistent and working your butt off and hard at things is the key to success in anything, I think.
Yeah, and even like you said, by being more persistent and doing it constantly, even though we did unfortunately have one drop last week, it wasn't like, oh, it's all over. We still built that habit by doing it so often and doing it consistently for so long. We've already developed that habit to where, all right, the next week, let's just pick it right back up and let's keep going. And that's a big thing of the consistency, is that you're actually doing it to develop a habit, a good habit, hopefully. And when you do it enough times, you start getting to that phase in your life where, like, all right, every morning, if I do this consistently, I'm going to do this. Like, I go to the gym every morning because it's now built up. I built up a system, and now I'm honoring that process by doing it. And then pretty much it's just muscle memory. And you just keep going, and then you build up on that and continues through.
Yeah.
So
I don't know about you. I was quite annoyed last week that we couldn't do it, and I couldn't do it personally. I was racking my brains trying to find a solution, sort of thing, to it, and I think when you form a good habit, you do get annoyed at yourself.
Yeah.
When you're not able to do it. Yeah.
I beat myself up a little bit over it too, but you can't beat yourself up too bad. Gotta keep moving on. Keep moving on.
It's just that initial reaction. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I get it. Yeah, it's just like when you break, when you start going to the gym all the time and all of a sudden you miss a week because you hurt yourself. It's the worst feeling in the world. You think that, I'll never go back. I'll never go back. So you gotta. It's a mindset thing. You gotta make sure you keep going on though.
I'll never drink again. This hangover is terrible. That's never gonna happen.
Yeah. Until tomorrow night. Yeah.
That's Saturday night, Scott. That's where it's coming.
This coming Saturday. Are you going to Momentum Day, Jay?
Right, I am.
Who on this panel? I'm not going. Who on this panel is going?
Me.
I would
See you there, Leslie.
but I'm not anymore. No.
You're not going. I was looking forward to seeing you, Scott.
I wasn't.
I've also seen you on a screen. I'm not sure that you exist.
I know, yeah. Unfortunately, it clashes with a few family things that I've got this weekend, so yeah.
He's a lot taller than he looks, Leslie, when he sat down.
When he stands up.
Actually, yeah. Tall.
So, Jill, I always like to hear your philosophies when it comes to this persistence game. What's your take on keeping everything consistent, persistent, and finding things in your business and in your general life that you need to apply this rule to, the consistency and persistence to break through, whether it's barriers or create habits or whatever it is you feel is important?
Yeah. Well, if you actually put the meaning of persistence, Google it, it will actually come up. Continuing with an opinion, even when it's difficult. And I think that is something where your mental muscle has to wrap itself around this concept of Rome wasn't built in a day. Nothing is achieved by not being persistent and consistent. I mean, I love Jay's videos because, Facebook from hell and stuff like that's been happening, and all these amazing things that are coming out, and then he's helping the guys with, they're all going through these things, and some people are saying, well, I'm just taking a few days off. Well, I'm stepping back. I'm stepping away. Sometimes you have to, but having said that, what happens when you're consistent and persistent? Things start to move, although very slowly. We think that these times of when we're having these really bad walls appear, that's it. I'm not persisting with this anymore. This is a lost cause. I'm walking away. I'm not doing it. When in fact it could be something just like a couple of words, a couple of tweaks, a couple of something that you need to go back and just redo. You're so damn focused on the result, it's just becoming obsessive. But the consistency and the persistency means, well, do you know what? I'm stepping away for a little while, but I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And because you come back all that time, you will get a result, albeit good, albeit bad. Whatever, something has got to give. Something will give. Something will get better. Something will progress. Momentum will start. So I think, it encompasses absolutely everything that you do in life. If you're persistent and consistent, things start to pay off. Results start to show up. Relationships get better because you're committed. You're persistent and consistent in that. Same with your family. Same with bringing up your kids. Exactly the same in friendships. Exactly the same in business. So this is an absolute diamond tonight. And for it to be the 40th and us to celebrate this, and we're like 10 months into your Hangouts and the consistency and persistency that we all decide on a theme, we all work towards that theme, we all input what we feel, we all have got different feelings, we come from different areas, but we've all got that one thing in common, all of us here, and that is persistency and consistency, because that is what gets you results, that's what builds your life, and that's what gives it meaning. Otherwise, you know, things fall by the wayside, and then people blame outside circumstances. You can't help it. They will blame something else, they will move that, they will distract themselves with something else. When in fact they need to look at themselves and think, well, perhaps if I did try a bit harder, perhaps if I kept on with that. I mean, sometimes you've got to know when to walk away from a situation that isn't paying off because, you know, again, it's that phrase that we all use, keep on doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. Well, having said that, if you keep on working at your business in a way that is good, in a way that is productive, and things start happening, all but, you know, slowly at first, then again, you're going to be lucrative, you're going to be busy, you're going to be active, you're going to be motivated. So I love tonight's theme. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
It's funny you mentioned that, Jill, actually. The problems that I've had over probably the last 2 weeks have basically been hell for me. I've had issues at the yin yang, and you've seen it in my videos. But 6 months ago, I'd have probably give up if I'd have had this 2 weeks that I've had now. But in order to get through my problems and just get to where I am now, I'm in a much better place. I'm super excited for this week. Me and Chris have had loads of good talks and everything seems to be going a lot better for us. But the only way we've done it is to just keep chipping away at the problem and never think, oh, that's it, I can't fix it, because there is always a solution to a problem. It doesn't matter what it is. And if you keep trying different things all the time, trying to find a solution, there's one day where it happened for me last Friday, it just went bam, and everything just started falling into place for me again. And I was so happy. I'm so happy now. Ridiculous.
There you go. You know, you could have easily walked away from it. As you said, because you've been persistent also, though, in the mindset side of things and seeing things for what they really are and not seeing them as, no way can I get through this. There is a way I'll get through this and I'll find it. I think that is the difference there, too.
Yeah, you have to be definitely be a problem solver.
Yeah.
Always think of how I can fix this, not what's the secret or what's the answer. Like, you know, because if you do that, you'll never ever find it. You have to go out there and try and figure it out for yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you brought up a great word while you were talking before too. The word was commitment, and that falls right in line with those other two: commitment, consistency, and persistence. Because if you're not committed to a result, and that's, you know, as Jay was talking about the other day, it's you know, thinking about results, being results driven. And if you're committed to that result, whether it's, you know, wealth, freedom, fitness, weight loss, love, whatever that result is, if you're committed to that result, you'll find, like Jay was just saying, you'll find the answer, and then you'll stay consistent and you'll persist in that route. And then you'll know if you're not getting any results, as long as you're committed to it and you're not like wishy-washy on it, like, oh, I don't want to do it, maybe I do, then those results will come. Eventually they will show up and they will appear. And
one of the big and turning points for me, Yuli, I've actually got a whiteboard behind me, and it says 10th of January 2015, New Zealand. Basically, my girlfriend's uncle's getting married in New Zealand, and she's going away for a month, and she wants me to go with her. So I said, I will not let her go on her own because I am going to New Zealand for a month. Not that I don't trust her. I just want to go. And so I wrote it on my board. And every day I look at it and I'm going, whatever happens today, I'm going to do something that's going to push me closer to that goal and get me there.
Yeah.
And it's just reminding yourself of what your why, your goals, and the whole reason you're doing it. And if you keep reminding yourself why you're doing it, and you know where you want to be, you will just push in and keep being persistent and just keep chipping away at any problem you have.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, any obstacle that gets in your way, it's just a matter of course correcting. Like I did a video on the other day on yesterday, and it was about aligning yourself. And like you have all right, January 2015, New Zealand. If all of a sudden it's November and you're finding that you're not seeing those results that you want, you can course correct because you know exactly where you're going. So as long as you're consistently doing your tasks or reaching your milestones in order to get you there, then you can course correct at any time and get there quite easily, really, if that's where you want to be.
Mm.
Yeah, there's only you that stands in the way, really.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, get out of your own damn way. And also, when you've got that written down, my God, does it pull you? Every time you get out of bed or look at something, you think, oh yeah, and it sends you into this spiral of inspiration of thinking, right, I'll do that today, I'll sort that today. Then you have a brain dump on what you're going to do. You think, oh, right, I've got these ideas to carry me, and it's true. It just pulls you. It's a terrific pull. It's it's a speak. Well, if I could have a speaking vision board everywhere I walked, I'd have it. Like they do in Hogwarts, where you walk past and all the pictures are moving. I'd have that because I could see this amazing shower with all these disco lights that I want and everything in my room. or this, guy getting in this car driving away thinking, I want to be in that. Or
but that really is the ticket. I mean, that really is how you get to something, is constantly being reminded of where you're going. Hi, Sandra.
Yay!
Morning, Sandra.
Can she hear us?
Sleepy.
Not yet. Sleepyhead's just waking up. Hey, there she is.
There she is.
Hello.
She's probably on the same problems I
She
have.
can't hear us yet, don't think. Is she in?
She's in. I don't know if she can hear us yet, but she's in. She's slowly getting.
Yep.
Yuli.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right.
Hey.
Hey, everyone. Sorry
Good
for the
morning.
lateness.
Good
Technical
morning.
issues. Good morning.
Good morning,
Not that
Sandra.
good, but technical morning to everyone.
Hey.
Just a little bit. Jay, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was just about to say, you were talking about seeing that goal every single day and where you want to be. The only reason, last Momentum Day, Jay, I wasn't there, but I know Jill and everyone was saying that Jay said you only need to generate 10 or 15 apps a month. And after that, I think it was a couple of days after Momentum Day, I was still nowhere and still couldn't get on that leaderboard. I wrote 10 on my board, like 10 single apps all the way down. And that's all I did. And I wrote them down, and every time I got an app, I put a smiley face and a tick next to it. And I kept on working through, and I got to 9 apps, and I got to members and elites and golds. But I got on my leaderboard just because every single day I'd look at it and go, one more smiley face, come on, 2 more. And every single day it would remind me, why am I sending a broadcast out every day? Why am I putting these ads? Why am I getting annoyed with writing this blog? It's because I want that ending to my month, and it worked. It definitely works.
Yeah,
Which is probably why Jay Coopersack has a whiteboard on every single wall in his office.
I just
Yeah, just
started-
about
I just
every
started
single
putting mine up.
wall in the house.
Oh, I lost mine.
Yep. Brilliant.
I just started putting mine up on the. Where is it? Can you see it? Oh, there it is. Move my camera around. I don't know how to do this. There it is. That's my first
Yep, see it.
one. So now I just got to get more of them around the wall, and these walls behind me is the idea.
I just bought one yesterday. It's if you can see it, it's here on the wall
I
behind
can
me.
see it behind you.
Yeah.
Is there anything on it yet, Scott?
No, it went on yesterday. I don't have a pen for it yet.
Oh no!
You know the
That would
slight
drive me mad.
oversight of not buying the pen. So
Scott, for fixed goals, use a Sharpie so it doesn't wipe off, so you can't cheat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
Well, this is a Sharpie.
Today, this weekend, I'll give you one.
Oh, yeah.
What about a pen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are constant reminders. I mean, those are the things that you have to put up to constantly remind. Like mine has September, October, November, December, and my monthly goals that I want to hit, and then I have app sales, student memberships, elite sales, DA sales, and my totals. So once those start coming through, I'll start keeping a list of those, and that actually, allows you to know your numbers. If I want to hit this amount, I need to have this many sales. That means I need to talk to this many people. That means I need this many leads, and that's something you have to consistently be doing in your business, is figuring out those numbers and trying to hit those goals. I mean, you come up with a dollar amount if that's what your goal is, and you figure out, all right, I need to talk to 100 people. Out of those 100 people, 10 of them have to buy lead apps. Out of those 10, 3 of them have to be members. Out of those 3, 1 has become an elite, and that has to happen consistently every single month if you want to hit those numbers.
It's good that you mentioned the numbers there, Yuli, actually. I was watching a television program called The Fixer last night in the UK. They were showing it on BBC Two. And it was going to this girl who spoke to this guy. She was trying to help him out in his small business. He was running a brewery. And he didn't have a clue what his figures were. Didn't know what he needed to make to break even, how things converted to X and Y and Z. He didn't have a clue. And you're talking about your figures there and just knowing your numbers. And you guarantee if you ask any of the top guys what your figures, how much you're paying a lead, how much an app, how much, what's it converting, they're like bam, bam, bam. And it's just basics of knowing whether you're doing the right things that's going to get you that result. Because if you don't know your figures, how do you know whether you're doing something right or wrong?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's not a very rare. That's a common problem, is that people don't. And it took me forever to start thinking that I'm not making any money yet. Why should I even bother with that? But that should be your premise. I mean, that's how you get to that point. That's how you make the money, is by knowing exactly how many people, in order to get to a certain, monthly sale or weekly, however you want to do it. You have to talk to a certain amount of people to get a certain amount of leads, to make a certain amount of sales, certain amount of upgrade sales, and then that's how you get to your bottom number. And unless you know those numbers, you're really just, throwing spaghetti at the wall and see if it sticks. And by spaghetti, I mean poop.
It's easy to do, and I heard something the other day on John Lee Dumas's Entrepreneur on Fire podcast, where he said the easiest things are also the easiest. The simplest things are also the things that we forget. The easiest things that are also the easiest ones to forget. Something along those lines. So we don't do the basics, basically. Writing down how many leads we generated for each app. Really simple to do, but it's also really simple not to do as well.
Right. Yeah.
I think what stuck in my mind was when Jay did 10 years, 10 lessons, and I wrote a blog on it because it really resonated with me. And he said, start with the end in mind and reverse engineer.
Yeah. You have
start with what you want, then reverse it. Tell me how you're going to get there. Not just start today and work to that. Some people can't. Some people like to have that in mind and then reverse it up until today. And do you know what? Since he said that to me, so many things have been easier for me because I've reversed it.
Yeah, that was our big.
Far away before, but
in the Marine Corps, that was our big. When we were doing missions, it was reverse planning. You would start with you actually start with the after whatever you were doing, like that set up, like the consolidation afterwards, and then you work your way back, and you work all the way back to where you are right there, and you just everything. This is the time I need to be there doing this, and from that point forward, you go backwards and you reverse engineer that whole evolution until you run out of time, and when you run out of time, it's right, and then you just you start right away. So you start your planning starts from the second where you are until that last effort. And that's how I try to plan most things. It's hard to do it that way all the time, but always have an idea of where you're going to be and then figure out where you are, and then those steps in between is the challenge. That's the journey. That's the part that we're all doing now.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I like it. Sandra, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good today. I had a few technical troubles, but I finally got here. I just persisted to try and keep trying, keep trying, and then I had success. It was like, yay! Yay, I had the internet! Oh, yes, I have access to the Hangout. So it's just a matter of bang, 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 just rinse and repeat. Switch off the computer, restart it, reset the internet box, restart it. And I got here, but that's what we're talking about today, aren't we? Is persistence and consistency.
Yeah.
They said characters develop after your third and fourth tries at something. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, can I ask you all a question? Because you're all talking about your whiteboards and your goals and stuff like that. That's really great. I don't have whiteboards, as you can see behind me. I just don't have them. But what I do is I do cash flow and balance sheets for my business every month. So I already know what targets I've got to hit to break even and stuff like that, So my cash flow and balance sheets at the end of each month, which I'm doing now, which drive me nuts. They're all on my computer in Excel, and the Excel spreadsheets and stuff like that, which I can barely use, but, I muddle my way through. But, and it's good to have your goals. I have my goals and stuff. They're on my dream boards and my vision boards that I have in different places on my computer because I spend most of my time at my computer, so it just makes sense for me to have them here. Now, the goals and everything, I've got them down packed. That's really good, but you need to know what actions that you have to take on a regular basis to get there. So, do you have to blog every day? Do you have to broadcast to your list every day? Do you have to make cold calls on the phone every day? How many people do you need to talk to every day? If 9 out of 10 people are saying no to what you have to offer, how many people do you have to speak to each day to get enough yeses so that, you reach, whether it be your daily goal, your weekly goal, or your monthly goal? So, because I do my balance sheets and my cash flow charts and stuff like that at the end of each month, I don't worry so much about resetting goals and stuff. I focus more on exactly what I need to do each and every day as far as actions are concerned to get to those goals, to reach those goals. Because it's good for people to have goals, but then they need to know what action they need to do each and every day. Do I need to, with a brick and mortar business, okay, it makes sense. You have to open your doors every day.
Yeah.
So your customers can come in your shop. So that's an action that you have to do every day. You have to get up and you have to open those doors. And preferably, you have to open those doors of your business at the same time every day, because human beings are creatures of habit. And if your customers get into the habit of knowing that your doors open at, say, 8 a.m. and they close at 5 p.m. or 5:30 or 8 p.m. or whatever, then they're creatures of habit. They will not come to your store until 8 o'clock. And I see this at the local supermarkets. On Sundays, people are queued up at the cheap store, Kmart. It's a department store. It's pretty cheap. You can get cheap, crappy, made in China, Taiwan stuff that'll last you for about a week, and you have to throw it away and go and buy a new one. When you pick up your $5 kettles and stuff like that. But you'll see them on a Sunday. Kmart does not open its doors on a Sunday morning before 9:30 a.m. and it's been that way for years. Yet, as creatures of habit, to get into the store early, you see the same people there at 9 a.m. every Sunday morning, standing at the front of the doors, and they're the same faces. Because the supermarket is open a little bit earlier, and so is the pharmacy and stuff. So sometimes I'll slip down to the supermarket, and grab some hot bread rolls or something like that. But you see the same faces lined up at those doors every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. because they want to be the first one through that open door. Not that they achieve anything by that, but for some reason they've gotten themselves into the habit of doing that. So you've got to know, it's good to have your goals and everything set, but you still need to know what you need to do each day to get to that goal, and you have to do it. That's what being persistent and consistent is all about. is actually doing it. Even stuff you don't like to do. Like at the end of the day, there's data entry for me into my Excel spreadsheets, which I loathe. But it's something that I have to do, and I have to be consistent with if it's going to make the end of my month for my cash flow and balance sheets a lot easier, so I'm not confused, and I know I'm hitting the targets that I need to hit. I know where my money in my business is going. You know, I know where the marketing dollars are being spent and where other expenses are being spent. So it's something that I have to do, and I loathe it. I really loathe it, but it has to be done. Just like, you know, what I do on G Plus each day with networking. You know, that's something that I have to do if I want to keep up the consistent hits on my website, which are showing up in my Google Analytics, which is, you know, attached to my G Plus. So, you know, each day I'm on my G Plus business page and I'm on my G Plus profile, and I'm networking with other, you know, businesses, with other people who may be interested in what I have to offer. And that's how I'm consistently each week hitting new targets for, you know, traffic to my website and purchases of my offer, and, you know, traffic to my new offers. So to be persistent and consistent in daily action is important.
Yeah, that's all perfectly said. You have to go out there, and those, without those actions, it doesn't make a sense to do. You're not getting anything done. There's nothing being accomplished at all. You're just spinning your wheels and doing nothing, and you could write stuff down all day, and unless you're taking consistent action towards those goals, it's just a way. No one's going to do them for you. Like Steve said before, you can have your mouth open all day, but a bird's not going to fly in it. Kind of is what he said. Almost.
I love Steve's analogy.
Yeah, I do too. Steve, what are you thinking over there?
I just want to clear a bit of a. I hope everybody can hear me, because I've had a bit of a kerfuffly night, really.
Yep, you're good.
There is a sort of there's a conflict of message, because you will hear Jay Kubizak say to do the same thing over and over and over, different results, is the road to insanity, and that's very true. And I think what you need to understand about consistency is not that you necessarily repeat the exact same task, but that you repeat consistently and persistently to achieve the same goal. And that's very different, because the route to that goal, there can be a myriad of different routes to any specific goal. And you will find hundreds of ways that don't work. If you carry on doing things that don't work, you will go quietly insane. But once you've identified something that doesn't work, cross it off and go and find something else. And I think people need to understand the difference between consistently aiming for a goal and just repeatedly doing the same thing with the same result. Because it is only a small difference, but there is a massive difference. And I think it's important for people to understand that a lot of what we're talking about, and the amount of trial and error. I mean, Jay's talking about a frustrating week. He will not have done the same thing over and over again, I'll be very surprised anyway, to achieve his result, because he will have had to find ways around it. Which,
I tried everything, Steve.
Yeah, my heart goes out to you, because it is a nightmare. And you do feel that you're going over and over the same thing. You think, why isn't this working? It worked before. You just have to find a different route. And it's the difference between success and failure is a hair's breadth.
Yeah.
And it's that difference between somebody saying, do you know what? I don't give a. I'm going to find the solution. I mean, how many times did Edison find a way not to make a light bulb? Was it 999 or 9,999?
Yeah, like 10,000. He got it on his 10,000 to 10th or something?
10,000. It's huge. But, you know, if he hadn't have done it, can you imagine stopping at 9999 and then some cocky little twat coming along and go, have you tried this? He'd have been beside himself.
Yeah, or he would never know. We'd be beside ourselves, because we'd have to stand too close to each other to see each other. We wouldn't have a light bulb.
Yeah. But I just wanted to sort of flag that up, because you will hear people say, well, I just keep doing the same thing. Well, then do it slightly differently. The other thing to remark
is just a little tweak.
Yeah, absolutely. But the other thing to remember is to record everything that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because after the 700th attempt,
You'll
you
forget.
could be going back to one and you've forgotten it. So always make notes of everything that you've done that doesn't work as well, because that data will serve you. I've got reams of data of stuff that doesn't work, but I will never make the mistake of trying it again. Not in that particular configuration. And it's just reconfiguring and reconfiguring. Think, well, if I put the tea in before the water, will it stop the pot from being scalded? Will it? Yeah, and there's a myriad of different ways of doing things. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really the other thing is, if you say you're going to do something, do it, because you don't know who's watching you. Mm-hmm. And if you fail to turn up on the time that you said you were going to turn up, if you fail not to do what you said you were going to do, it may seem ridiculously small, but that could tip somebody's faith in you in such a dramatic way. Well, he said he was always going to do a webinar at 8 o'clock on a Tuesday, and he didn't turn up. Well, and that's the one excuse they need to walk away. I mean, if that's the case, then they're going to walk anyway. But you understand where I'm coming from?
Absolutely.
They will go and find somebody else to tie their dream to.
Someone that they could trust, someone that'll be there when they say they're... I mean, that's equally as important with the conversation you have with yourself as well. If you tell yourself you're going to do something, do it, because it really is that much easier not to do it the second time. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
If I do something every single day, or I'd say the 90-day video challenge, and I'm going to do a video every day for 90 days, and I tell myself, and I've had a conversation with myself, that I'm going to do it every day for 90 days, that one time I miss is the hardest one to miss. Everything after that is like, well, I did it that one time and nothing broke. I missed it that one time and nobody died. Oh, I missed it that one time, nobody jumped off a bridge.
So no, but you died. Your integrity died. Yeah, it's major. It really is major.
Yeah, the conversation you have with yourself is equally, if not more important than the conversation you're having with everybody else.
I think it's the most important conversation that we all have. And if you're not talking... who was it that said? Jill, you'll remember this. When you're having a conversation with yourself and the answer you get is, huh? You need to sort of wake up and start again, because you're not paying attention to yourself. Was it Bill O'Brien? Sounds like one of them. It's really true. If you catch yourself going, what? When you're talking to yourself, you've got real problems.
Yeah. That's funny. Leslie, you've been pretty consistent at what you've been doing for the last 6 months, and you've been here, which has been great, and you've been making efforts to grow your business and do whatever it takes. I mean, you're pretty much doing everything, whatever it takes to succeed, and you're being persistent, and you always show up, not just here, but you show up to your business, and you show up every day, and you do what you're supposed to do. Between you and Jade, I know your partner and daughter Jade, that you both have your own commitments to the business. So what's your take on all this, and how important is that consistency, not only to how you're running your business, but to where your partner can rely on the fact that you're doing your job, that she doesn't have to worry about you doing it, you're doing it, and she knows that for a fact?
Well, I think the thing is, for me, well, to start off with, I'm absolutely loving this journey of personal development, and this is what this is actually is for me. This is what learning to be consistent and persistent, because really, being quite honest, throughout my life, when I haven't done something for the length of time I've done this with such enthusiasm, and I'm actually loving this personal development journey. It just excites me, the fact that I can control my own brain, and I like playing games with it, and it's just funny. But really, it's up to me. You know, If I'm going to sit there and let my brain go off somewhere else, then, and you know, it's up to me to bring it back in line. And I quite like that idea. I think it's really fun. I was listening to The Secret this morning. That's why I went on to that, and I found it. You know, it was just so funny. Thinking that because your brain does go off and do other things, and you can make excuses. And don't get me wrong, I make excuses sometimes why I'm not doing something. But in the back of my mind, I'm also then fighting against that because I know I've made that excuse. So I'm even holding myself accountable for the excuses that I make and think, no, you can't make an excuse. You've got to do this. You know, I mean, you know, we've got a whiteboard as well, and there it is up on the wall all the time. In the bedroom, every time we go in there, we see it, and what's written on there. And, you know, if you want to achieve something out of life, then you've really got to, you know, grab this opportunity and take it to wherever. I mean, you know, the world's your oyster at the end of the day. You know, I mean, everybody does have to start somewhere, but I think the secret is that they do have to start. It's up to the individual. You know, it's whether you're ready. It's whether your why is big enough. You know, if your why is big enough on what you want, you're doing it for, then, you know, you've got to put some effort in. And like a lot of you said tonight, you've got to take action. And for somebody, well, just in the last few weeks, you've probably seen that Jade and I have been juicing, and we didn't have anything to eat for a week. Well, if you'd have told me on that first day that I would have lasted 7 days, I would have said, no way. Absolutely no way. But, you know, it's because of the mindset that I'm in. I have never done anything like this in my life before, ever. But it's my mindset. It's where I'm going, and that's the exciting part about it, is where you're going. Yeah. Crikey, if I can do that, I mean, I'm still juicing. Woo! You know,
and for the late arrivals, we are talking fruit and veg.
You know, it's just like, it's being persistent, and a lot of the teachings that we have in this business, you know, it just teaches you to be persistent, to, you know, constantly do something. No matter if it's just one single thing, you have to do something every single day. You know, and my day is challenging sometimes. I've had a hell of a 2 weeks with my dad, where we've done nothing but go to hospitals and doctors and God knows what. But I've still done things in the business, you know, as well as my juicing. But, you know, I just love it. I absolutely love it, and I think that's why I'm persistent and consistent with our business. Jade can't always do what she would love to do. She doesn't have the time. Just works too many silly hours. But I'm there, and I can do it. She'll come up with some idea, but, you know, I've got to put it together. But initially, she's come up with the idea. Tell you what, we'll do this, this, and this. You know, she can spare a few hours before she goes to work, and we do something together. But it doesn't really matter, you know, who's doing it. We're both so determined that we're going to achieve this. You know, nothing is going to stop. And it's like Jay just saying, you know, all the problems he's having. And I agree with him. 6 months ago, if we would have had a lot of problems, it might have been the same sort of like, oh my God, I don't know whether I can do this. But as time goes on, the belief is so high, and in the business and also in yourself, of being able to achieve it now. So,
I think that self-belief is the most important thing, Pat.
That's right, yeah. And you're constantly working on that anyway, you know, about self-belief. But, you know, it puts me on cloud 9. When I even, you know, when I think about, like this morning when I was listening to The Secret, I I was actually listening to some music because I was on the trampoline. I was doing my exercise this morning, and it was so funny. I was on the trampoline, you know, trying to get myself like really motivated and that. And then, of course, I had the playlist on, and The Secret came in, so it wasn't quite the music to be doing my trampoline into. But it was quite funny because I left it on because then I got intrigued into, you know, because I always hear the first bit, but I normally fall asleep when, and I never hear the other three.
Do you know,
three sessions.
that's me.
Yeah. So it was really good. So I was there, you know, on my trampoline doing my exercising, listening to The Secret, and I was thinking, oh God, I forgot about this. Oh my God. And I was like getting really excited about it, thinking, oh my God, I'm in control.
Yep.
Anyway.
It makes you have to take those appropriate steps. Steve was talking about it. Jay's been talking about it. Everyone's brought that up, that it's not so much where you're going, it's how you're going to get there, and those are the steps you have to take on a daily basis. And if it's whatever it is, whether it's listening to motivational stuff in the morning, or, you know, doing your blog post, or sending a broadcast, whatever it is, you know, like you said, you just have to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The journey of 1,000 miles all starts with one step, and you have to take that first step, and then you'll see another step, and then you'll see another step, and then you'll see a little bit farther and a little bit farther, and eventually you'll get where you want to be, and then it's time to do it all over again, because we never stop. We keep
Yeah.
Funny that you say about falling asleep. I've got a Sandra Ricotti thing that I do all the time, and the AM affirmations and the PM affirmations. I'm there going, And at the end of it, she says, on 1, your eyes are feeling less tired. On 2, you're moving your fingers. On 3, you're back in the room and awake. And the other day, I actually stayed awake all the way through it and realised that I should have been making notes and doing things. It's just, I've just woken up from like 6 hours sleep, put my headphones and go, more. Back in the room. I just hope the good stuff's going in. It seems to be making a big impact. But, I thoroughly recommend it for any insomniacs. It's a fabulous, fabulous course, and it is really improving my attitude, because we've had a few challenges this last month. But she is a very, very good teacher. Very good indeed. Really, really recommend.
What's the name again, Steve?
It's Sandra Ricotti. It's something that Marie Santos recommended to me. I'll get a link if you want. Have you heard of her, Jill? Have I got the name right?
I have, yes. She's very, very good, yeah.
And it's the Unsinkable series, and she really is. It just enables you to bounce back more quickly, because you're strengthening and understanding what's going on in your head more. And it's just, it's all the similar sort of stuff to what Kuba does, but it is really specific to the sort of specific challenges I've been dealing with.
Okay.
And it is
good.
Spot on, really spot on.
Good.
Especially when you're tired, it really does.
Yeah.
Really have to get right down to business.
Yeah. And I mean, on a lot of the parts, she says if you're driving, you need to stop, and then restart this part of the tape once you stop the vehicle. Oh, okay, this is going to be a real deep sleep then, and you have a nice 45-minute rest on the side of the road. Then the phone goes off and says, "Why haven't you moved?" Just having a break. Yeah, carry on.
Now those lectures and those videos or whatever they are, or those audios, are they working on muscle memory? Or are they trying to get you to to fire different neurons faster? Or?
It's developing neural paths so that it's how you respond to circumstances outside of your control.
Yeah.
And so that you understand that the feeling you're feeling when something goes wrong is actually only a feeling.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
not
a
a reality.
sensation not to be. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of that with the Satori Prime guys on their Tribe Mastermind, and they do a series of training.
It is only a feeling.
They talk about a lot about the feeling, or it's just a thought, and a past experience has affected you in a certain way, but it's just in your head. Once you can look past that, you can say, that's just a feeling, okay, it's there, but how do I react to that feeling? And one of the things we've been dealing a lot with, actually.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's great.
And it's also about identifying beliefs that are actually inhibiting what you're trying to do.
Big time.
That's a big one. That's huge. I mean, that really inhibits a lot of people from doing anything they want to do.
Inhibiting beliefs are remarkable, and I found one that goes back to September 2012 in a conversation with Chris and Susan.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's once you figure those out and you can get past those, it's amazing on how quickly it does start to turn around on you.
Yeah, and that was a massive anchor. Huge.
And an anchor is right. It's like a big emergency brake.
Yeah. And no matter what we were doing, because that was there, if you haven't got the consummate belief in what you're doing, you ain't going to achieve anything. And even if you can't hear it, there's that little nagging thread in the head that's going, yeah, whatever.
Right.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It really is a nightmare.
Yeah, even if you can't hear it,
you can find ways to go around it, and it's just having a different voice. And it was talking to Maria, and she said, mate, there's something. It's got nothing to do with landing pages, copy, budget. There's something in your head that we need to turn around.
Correct.
And, you know, me and Marie go back to when she started, and there was an awful lot of mutual support back in the beginning. And it sort of come back round. And that's what I really love about this business.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't know who's going to be the one who's going to give you a hand up when you're down.
Correct.
Yeah. The teacher appears when the student is ready. It doesn't matter who the teacher is.
Absolutely.
But you can get lessons from anybody. I get lessons from any. You know, I'm just open
that's
to
one
receive
thing I've never been proud of. If somebody's got a skill or a talent, I tell you, somebody who is particularly useful to get to know and spend time with is Satcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
She can help you clear your head quicker than Jay's fluid down a drain. I'll tell you, she's unbelievable. And I mean that really complimentary. She's absolutely brilliant.
I've had a little bit talk. I talked to her a little bit about some webinar stuff she was doing last, but I need to touch base with her. She's doing those interviews. The chestnut, is it?
Hazelnut.
Hazelnut.
Yeah.
Same family.
Yeah, right. They're all nuts.
There's a filthy story somewhere.
Yeah, we'll find it.
Sandra, you've heard it.
But even on those programs, even those programs that develop your neurons and develop your different everything to fire differently, you have to do those on a consistent basis in order for them to even be effective. You can't go. You can't
absolutely
back and forth. You gotta.
No.
Are you talking about those? I mean, I've gone back to my stuff with Dr. Steve G. Jones and Joe Vitale. And Steve always says, you know, what's the message behind your message? Which is why I made a video of that, because I was looking at Joe's stuff again. And, you know, no matter what you're doing, even though you're hidden behind that computer, you will put out a message that you think is clear and concise, but it's where you're actually coming from at the time. And a lot of people will pick up on that message. It's very clever. That's it. Yeah.
What's that one called, Steve?
Hypnotic writing.
Joe Vitale, absolutely spot on book.
I love the whole concept. I'm going through the audios again and some of his videos and copy, and it really pays to go back to that sometimes, just back to being you and finding out, you know, what is the message you're trying to convey here, and also you've got to clear your mind, clear your head, get rid of all this rubbish so that you can expand your story to touch people rather than come from lack or desperation or anything else. It's you know, and the thing is, I think us guys here, we are together, but we are separate entities. Obviously, we're heading in one direction as such, because we've all got our separate, you know, dreams and goals and ideas of what we want to do. But this journey can be damn sight lonely sometimes. If you know, without this community, people would just not exist like this. You wouldn't have this persistence or consistency. I firmly believe it. And you, like Leslie said, you know, she gets fired up about the fact that she can control her ways and control her mind. But if I'd have met Leslie out of this business a while ago, I think you and I had this conversation, didn't we? Because we're of that era where we are, you know, the blueprint, again, is what we're made of. It's got us where we are now, and we are what we are and where we are because of what we've done. And you really have to go in and have a frontal lobotomy and think, well, this isn't working. Well, what I did last year is not going to work here, so I've got to think differently about this. And, you know, you learn. It's almost like learning to ride that bike again. It's getting that balance.
Yeah.
But isn't it strange that once you get on it, you think, yeah, okay, I'm okay now. You can let go.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to be directed.
There, something that I think is we tend to overlook. Jay and Stuart both did this without a community.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They had mentors, but they didn't have the sort of community that they've built for us. No. And I think that shows an absolutely incredible single-mindedness.
Yeah. But you know, I guess we help them as well. We've got a win-win situation here because.
But in the past, before we were here,
yeah,
Stuart, that they just ground it out, and I think that is an incredible trait.
Absolutely.
To try and emulate. If you can emulate that ability, just to ignore everything else, and just check out and do what needs to be done.
And I think that's why they shoot a video, you know, because they go right back to that place.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You will get this random video from Stuart, and you can tell that he's got a moment of reflection. He's sat down and he's like, I'm going to reach out to the guys that are struggling. I want to reach out. I want to talk to you. And he does touch you because you can feel he resonates with what people are going through. But I also feel at this moment in time they feel so super psyched because they've got a community such as us. No blowing our own trumpets, but I guess we do in a way because we are their raving fans because of the service value, the listening, the learning, the coaching, everything else that they give us. There's nothing to compare with it. I've never found anything, and I don't think I ever will either. And that's why I always call this place home.
Yeah, even their approach.
Right.
Even their approach is very consistent. There's never any, like, all of the webinars, all of the things that are throughout the whole process and the whole journey and the back office. Everything is so structured that I know where I need to be and where I can be and where I should be, and I know when everything's happening, and you pick up on that within a few weeks. You know, all right, Thursday nights is this, Friday I'm looking forward to Founders Call because I know it's coming. You know, I know it's coming this week. I don't.
Conversely, Yuli, when it doesn't happen, there's an awful lot of headless chickens running around on Facebook.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
it was like the coffee call on Monday. We lost Martin thanks to his builders call.
Yeah. I was being escorted
and there was a lot of problems, and they cut him off. And he came back on 3 hours later saying, "I'm back," and he was at a Starbucks.
Yeah, I mean,
we were all like, "Where did Martin go?"
It's bad to be dependent on that, but it's important to recognize that structure, and that once we don't, like you said, if it's not there, we're like, what happened? Because we're used to it. We're used to it being there, and that's what you're trying to get that's what you're trying to get your brain to think. All right, let's go. I have to get up this morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I have to get into my affirmations. It's what I do. And if you don't do it, then your day kind of goes a little screwy. Like on I walk my dog every morning on a really bad rainy day. I won't, and that really throws my whole schedule off. So I'm like, I have 30 minutes.
Now it makes a mess of the floor as well.
Yeah.
Your consistency can affect other people's lives as well. I think, especially if you look at something like Stuart's 30-day video challenge, 30-day marketing challenge. When we started broadcasting 7 days a week, our subscribes went up as they naturally do, which Stuart said they do. But then they creep down, and we're getting less and less, and now we get a subscribe every other day, something like that. So by being consistent, you're actually changing the way people looked at their emails. Like
Yeah.
they were expecting your email every single day. So at the beginning, our subscribers went up because people are like, "What the hell is this?" Even though we told them it was going to happen. But you coach people, and you can coach people through your own consistency.
Yeah, you're training them. You're teaching them to be, to be there for it, to open them, give them value. You realize, all right, there's value coming in now. All right, now I expect them to send me something every day. But once this 30-day challenge is over and people stop doing that, I mean, you have to be consistent. You can't just stop and then be like, oh, okay, now
I think the point of the 30 days is that the habit will be formed.
Yeah, and it's true. Yeah. I'm constantly looking for something new to, like, I'm constantly on a daily basis, and I always did this prior to that, but on a daily basis, I'm always like, oh, that's a good idea. I can make a video on this, or even watching a commercial, like, oh, that makes sense. I can watch, I think, Jay, you were talking about this, how you watch commercials differently now, and I watch commercials differently now, where I'm like, I used to change on, if I've seen it 100 times, I'll still change it, but I'll watch a new commercial and be like, oh, wow, that's brilliant.
I look at a lot of magazines and stuff. I go around taking pictures on my phone of copy and different ways people are doing things, and I think, oh, well, they're using that colour for a reason. That, and I try and figure everything out now. It's crazy. What your eyes do.
Yeah, and we have, I don't know what, we have billboards everywhere, on major highways here, and sometimes I look, why would somebody spend money on that billboard? It's awful. Or I'll look at another one and say, oh, that's brilliant, that's awesome, that's amazing, that's so smart. But some of them are just so bad. But you start to pick up on different things now, and then so now daily, because of this marketing challenge, every day I think about, all right, now I can do this, I can figure this out, I can, I have some content for today, and it makes me want to write content, and I put content out daily, whether it's just a broadcast or a Facebook video or a video on my blog, but it makes me want to do something daily. So I'm developing that habit to do it daily, which is, I think, the important, like Steve said, the important aspect of the whole challenge.
I was going to say, the good thing is that you have a responsibility to your list now. Once you've built in that habit, that 30 days, it's not only yourself you're letting down, but you're letting down the people you're serving as well, because they're expecting it now, and some people will be hanging on your emails because they want to see what's happening. And if you don't deliver, what are they going to think about you? So you have to maintain that consistency once you establish that habit past the 30 days.
Yeah.
I get emails from people daily that I don't necessarily read them every day, but I won't delete them until I do read them or watch the video, whatever it is. And there are people out there that are doing the same thing to you. They might not read every single one every day, but they won't delete them, and they'll hold on to them, and they'll kind of, whenever they have some quiet time, go through them.
Do you know, I've signed up to quite a lot of people's lists, and it's very interesting how few people resend to unopens.
Yeah.
Resend?
I just do it today.
Say again?
I know last time we spoke, Steve, you were doing it a few times in a day, weren't you, over a certain period? Because people are doing different things at different times of day, so they don't have time to open their email.
I have to say that Greg and Fiona Scott, without fail, if you do not open their emails, you keep getting them.
Yeah.
You get the same one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want you to open it.
We resend, so we'll send at 8 o'clock in the morning when we get our most opens through our testing that we've tried out, and then we'll resend to the unopened at 7 at night, because that appears to be the next time that really works for us. But what we'll do is we'll look at the open rate, and if the open rate is fine for that headline, then we'll keep that headline. If it's pretty poor, we know it hasn't grabbed enough attention, so we'll change it slightly.
It's labour intensive.
Yeah, it is.
But if we're email marketers, we are email marketers, so that's the only job. It's not like going out and digging a hole, is it? I've got a real blister on my finger from pressing send.
Yeah. Send.
Sorry. Send.
They definitely boost your opens by a few percent.
Yeah, it will.
Say, and people are busy. The fact of life is people are busy doing loads of other things, and they might not be ready to read your email at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they might have had another 40 emails throughout the day, but they get home at 7 at night, and then bam, an email pops into their inbox. Oh, I didn't get a chance to read an email they sent this morning. I've deleted that already. I'll read this one instead. And that's the logic, I think, that applies to it.
It's great logic, and I've tried that in the past, but I don't know if I've gotten again. I wasn't persistent or consistent with it. I did it once or twice. I didn't see anything, and I was like, all right, I have other things to work on. But that's an important task that I'm going to take on, is starting to do that now, and stick with it. And I haven't stuck with it in the past.
Well, Greg and Fiona certainly do, and I would be quite happy to emulate their other results as well. That's why I flagged it up.
No, they have some good results, that's for sure.
They do.
Well, we're a little beyond our 1 hour mark, and I'd like to kind of wrap this up if everybody's okay, and have some closing remarks for our 40th episode. And Sandra, any last remarks on the on persistency, consistency, and its importance, or anything else that you have to say, or anything else you want to throw out there?
No, I don't have much more to add, Julie. I think we've pretty much covered it all since we've gone over the hour, and there's a lot of really, really good takeaways there. But yeah, the most important thing is, you just have to be persistent and consistent. If you're in business online, especially, a good community like ours, having the support of a good community is important to your persistence and consistency. And a good community, good solid supporting community, can also help you recognize whether you're making the same mistake over and over again, and whether you need to turn that around so it actually becomes something more successful, so you can keep moving forward. But just be serious. If you're coming online and you're thinking about making money online, or building a business online, or whatever you want to do online, even if it's just running a personal blog, even if that personal blog isn't going to attain you any money, even if it's just like, you telling short stories and you want people to get value from them and read them, you have to be consistent with your efforts to reach people with that. So, treat it with respect, treat it like it's a real thing, and it is a serious, real thing. You're not playing with toilet paper here. You're not a cat that's pulling the toilet paper off the roll and running around the house with it. This being online is a serious thing. And, if you don't pay attention to what you're doing, you will just drop off. You'll pick up bad habits that you've had all your life from when you were going through those horrible hormonal teenage years where your mother just consistently harped at you to clean your room, and you never cleaned your room. These little bad habits that you picked up through your childhood will just creep into your adult life, and you go, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And tomorrow, I'm telling you people, tomorrow never comes.
Yeah.
It never comes. Tomorrow never comes, and yesterday's gone.
Yeah. Some days never here either. That's for sure.
Because each day you wake up, it's not tomorrow, it's today. You're in the present. So tomorrow never comes, and yesterday's already gone. So live in the present and be aware of that. Be serious about what you're doing.
That's why free beer tomorrow, always at my house.
Sweet. I think it's about a 26-hour flight for me, so if I leave now, I should get there in time.
Actually, you could probably do it. Leslie, what are your thoughts here? Some last thoughts, some last words before we wrap up our 40th episode here.
Well, we're all in our own business. We're all entrepreneurs. And at the end of the day, true entrepreneurs don't let anything stop them from achieving their goals and what they want to do. And after all, this is your own business. It's not anyone else's. You don't have to do it for me or for you or for anyone else. This is your own business. Step up to the mark and, start taking action. That's what I would say.
And I think that's a very wise thing to say. Jay, what are you thinking over there?
Where are we? Yeah. For me, my final thing that I advise anyone who wants to instill consistency into their business is to build up a habit every single month for 12 months and continue that until you have 12 productive habits to your business that you're consistent and you do every single month, every single day, whatever it might be, and then continue that until you get 24 and 36 habits that are productive to the productivity of your business. And that's my little bit of advice.
Yeah, that makes sense. That gives you something new to try out every month.
I actually started this on my 90-day video challenge, and one of the months I did the do it now. So whenever people would ask me to do something, instead of adding it to a list to take it off a list and put it on another and another, I would go, right, I'm going to do that now. Like my girlfriend said to me today, I'm going on a hot air balloon ride on Friday, by the way. She said you need to print off the tickets for the hot air balloon ride. So I said, right, I'll do it now. So I went and did it now, and it's only through instilling that habit in my business that it happens in my personal life as well, and it just has a big knock-on effect. So build habits.
Yeah, that's true. That's
when are you getting that tattoo, Jay?
Tattoo? Chris has got one. Do more. I'm sure it doesn't say that, Jill.
Yeah, he thinks it says something.
I think he was drunk when he got that done.
Yeah, that's one of my big challenges, is getting things on a list and then getting it off a list, and then saying, all right, I've got so much to do right now that I'll just put that on a list. And by the time I get to that task on that list, I've got 30 more tasks. So that's not a bad habit to kick off on. Is the just
She will tell you to be a finisher.
If you got to do it, just do it. And get it over with.
Yeah.
You do it till it's complete. Jill, any last thoughts here? That was great, Jay. Thank you. Anything else there you want to add, Jill?
Well, just really quickly, it is true. Consistency and persistency, and your habits and rituals will become your routines. That is it. End of, really. When you start a new language or learning a new language, you learn the words, you learn how to put the words together, then the words have got to be shared with others, and then the words are put into sentences, and then the sentences grow, and you converse with more people. It's exactly the same as when you're building a business. Exactly the same. So stick with it, stay with it, because time passes anyway. So don't think, as so rightly say, today, tomorrow. There's nothing like the present to start doing something.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And that's a great analogy with language, because you're right. I mean, you only learn a couple words. You think you'll never be talking to groups of people in their native country, and then before you know it, if you stick with it long enough, you get the language, you get the hand gestures, you get the accents down, you get all the. So you do. It takes a lot of time and consistency. So good analogy.
Thank you.
Steve, any last words from you?
There's a saying about life that you are in life a result of the books that you read and the people that you run with. And I think the advantage of this community is that we are running with some consistent people who have learned to form good habits. And our habits, what we do on a consistent, habitual basis, is what sets us apart. And if you really want to achieve great things, you have to do it by habit, not by rote and not by pain. You have to do it because you do it because you do it. And I think Steve Jobs said that it is close to insanity, but it's the only way you will get what you really want, is just to keep going and keep going. And it's so worth it. And you look around at the people that we do run with, and there are some incredibly successful people in this business. And there are people that are successful outside of this business that come here. Well, that should tell you an awful lot. You know, we're not dealing with unsuccessful people that are trying really hard to become successful. We're dealing with very successful people in other fields of life who are coming in and applying their success habits to this system and getting really good results. But they're getting spectacular results for them because they're getting their lives back. They don't have to carry on doing what they've always done to get what they've always get. they can do less and have real time with the people that matter. And if you want some of that, then get in touch with any of us, because that's what we're about.
Yeah, that's so true. These success, they're not generic to what we do. There are people coming from everywhere doing the same thing and bringing their success stories in here and applying them. And even people that aren't necessarily applying to the online marketing world, even people that have businesses offline are learning from people like us to get their businesses online. So it's definitely the right trend to be on, if nothing else.
Very much so.
Cool. Awesome.
Definitely a win-win situation.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. We're not selling anything. We're just letting you know that it's not a bad skill to have under your belt, for sure. And Scott, any last questions here? Your whiteboard, blank board back there. Gonna start writing stuff down on it.
Tomorrow I'll have a pen, and that is more for masterminding rather than writing stuff down on.
Tomorrow never comes, Scott.
Tomorrow never comes, Scott.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the
I'll tell you
shop's not
something.
open now.
He's got an awful lot more tomorrows than this old bird, I can assure you.
I guess just to sum it up, this has been a really great webinar. I mean, I've just been sat here listening, writing down some the resources that have been shared. So I found it great. But I think what we've covered today is basically 3-step system to achieving anything that we want in life, any goals. And that is, and I've written it down, so have a goal, decide what you want to do, decide what you need to do to get there, and then do it.
Yeah.
3 steps to
Yeah.
achieving anything you ever want.
Perfect.
Makes it sound so simple, but that's all you need to do.
It's simple.
And it is simple, but
It
yet,
is simple.
everybody
it's
seems
not simple.
But yeah, everybody seems to wonder why they're not achieving the goals, and if they're not, and they're sat watching this webinar, I think they need to review those 3 simple steps.
Yeah, very smart steps. And congratulations on 40, Scott. That's very impressive.
Yeah.
Congratulations, everybody. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody. Well, we're wrapping it up here, and like everybody said before, you have to take those steps in order to succeed. Like Scott just said, 3 basic principles to success. Find your goal. Know what your goal is. You said it, Scott. I forgot what you said already. That's how simple it is.
Have a goal, decide what you need to get there, and then do it.
And then do it. And everybody's kind of doing that here, and we've been able to successfully create a platform for people to come out here and just learn and join and do whatever we want with this Hangout platform. And we've only been able to do that based on our consistency and our persistence to succeed. And regardless of what the results are or what the results can be or will be, we know that if we have a vision in mind and we know what our vision is, we're going to attain that vision as clearly as day. And like Sandra said, even if it's a brick-and-mortar business, as far as persistency and consistency, brick-and-mortar, you have to open your doors every morning at a time because people are coming in to see you. What happens if all of a sudden you don't open those doors for 2 or 3 days? No, people are just going to think you're closed down for business. And that's a lot of the reasons why a lot of people in online business don't get the respect or don't get the fellowship that they're expecting because they don't open their doors every day. It doesn't have to be every morning. It doesn't have to be the exact time. That's our luxury. But every day you should be opening your business at least to the point where you're either checking your numbers or checking your emails or figuring out what you need to do and networking a little bit. But every day you have to open your doors. So keep that consistent and you're sure to get the results that you want eventually. So I want to thank everybody for putting up with us for all this time. I want to thank everybody for joining us and everybody on the panel. We had a nice full panel today of just brilliant people who are just here to share. And so I just want to say thanks to everybody for getting us this far and to 40 more. So cheers. I should have brought some champagne. We'll do that for the 50th. We'll bring some champagne.
We're all coming
thanks again, guys, and we'll see you next week at the same time.
Yeah. Take care.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.